Hello everyone, my name is Ayhan Yavuz and I wanted to not only introduce myself to you today, but I also wanted to share a couple of things with you, starting with the books that I have written. They both are in English and currently are on Amazon. I have two books. This one is called In the Cradle of Umbra, a self-help book, and then I have another one. This is a fiction. It's called The Realm of Illusions. There will be several uh, in this series, and this one is called Azra's Labyrinth. Today, I want to talk about this book with you, Self-Help. I am currently in communication with a very successful publisher in Istanbul. Therefore, I have been working really hard to translate this book from English to Turkish. And look at the title, In the Cradle of Umbra. There's a reason that I have chosen this title, as Umbra represents the darkest part of the eclipse, the shadow. And we all have our own shadows. But when I name this book, I use the word cradle because some of us, when we are in some form of darkness, when we suffer, when we feel like we are trapped, when we lose our hopes because we don't know what to do, or we feel weak, maybe alone, isolated, then somehow we get comfortable, like we get paralyzed. We are aware that we are alive, but we really don't want to function. We just want to fall asleep. We don't really get back into this rat race, and it seems like most of us are in that rat race, actually. When we think we know what we are doing, when we think we know where we are going, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but some of us are sleepwalking. So I wanted to share a few things with you. This is not an ego trip. This is not, hey, look at, I have written books. It's not about that. But I do believe that I might be able to maybe share a few things with you. And it's going to be up to you if you want to see it for yourself, whatever that I might be sharing based on my knowledge, education, my life, my experiences, things that I've gone through. That's it. So I would like to read a really short paragraph from this book, and now we can talk about it a little bit more. There it goes. We all have stories. Some have been shared, and some are still hidden in our own shadows. Make a promise to yourself that you will always be committed to living the best version of your life. So you will not waste your precious life to fit into a mold created by the expectations of others. When life gets tough, keep reminding yourself to breathe in and breathe out. Nothing is permanent. Life is not permanent. Neither should the suffering be. I know maybe it's not easy to hear when we suffer. There are those who really love us, they care about us, they say, this too shall pass. Maybe you are not really in that mindset. That's not really what you want to hear. Maybe you want miracles. You want this suffering to end. You just want to reclaim your life back. You know, you make a mistake, you create challenges for yourself. Maybe you regret some of the things that you have done. Maybe your suffering you think was caused by someone else. Well, regardless, maybe we don't really like to see it or hear, but we need to take responsibility. When we create situations that maybe we are not really proud of, it's our responsibility. Even if people say to you, how stupid are you that you have created such a challenge, devastating challenge for yourself? Did you really need that? Do we really need that? Why are we creating these experiences that we end up finding ourselves in such darkness? And this darkness, is it really here to stay? Is it going to consume everything? Is it really possible? Does everybody talks about this best version of your life? How can you actually know how many versions do you have and which one is really best when you do feel like you don't have the best seat in the house, when everything is dark? How are you going to see? How is it possible to see in the dark? Isn't it just natural to feel sorry for yourself? Isn't that easier? Well, some of us somehow have figured out a way to pick themselves up so they can actually not only reclaim their lives back, but this time they are determined to make something out of it. Because life is precious. So are you. Now, when it comes to us, the way we think, the way we say things, the way we choose to feel, pay attention. I say choose to feel. Because you do have a choice. You may question, did we really get to choose feelings? Do I really choose to be upset? Do I really choose to be pissed off? Like, am I crazy? I don't think you're crazy, but we really, most of us, are sleepwalking. Most of us. We think we know. We actually don't know much. So, how did we learn in this life? Does it mean we always have to create such challenging experiences? Do you think we need to suffer so we can learn more? I think that is true for some of us. But I believe everything really starts within. I believe that we are here to love, to learn how to love. Therefore, we need to be in the moment. We need to remain focused. We need to be mindful. And when I say mindful, that I want you to think universally, not just your life, but think about it. If you look around, so many of us are chasing something. We want this, we want that. When we get that, we want another version of that. We always want something, we always want to consume. Maybe it's easier if we focus outside instead of inside. Maybe we think we don't have the tools to actually see what it is. And do we really know how to use our senses? Do we really see when we look? Do we really hear when we listen? Do we really feel when we touch? Ask yourself. We may be really good at fooling everyone else, but we are really not at all good at lying to ourselves, because you will know. So if you feel like you're trapped, if you feel like the life that you have, maybe you're occupying it, but you're not showing up to it. So is it really your life? Are you pretending? Pretending takes lots of energy. It's not worth it. But how are we going to be authentic? Where do we even start? Well, you start with yourself. Do your best to get to know yourself first. And I know so many of us have been embedded with so many really negative things about ourselves. You're not good enough. Look at you. Who do you think you are? When someone on a daily basis hearing those thoughts, it's a self-talk in a negative way. When such negativity becomes your only companion, how are you going to leave that version of yourself behind? Are there things that you can do? There are things that you can do. It requires your commitment to your own life right now. That means you need to become the best friend of yourself, because when we talk about relationships, our relationships to our family, partners, friends, the world, and planets, that's wonderful. But you are not going to go so far. You are not going to be able to reach the stars if the first visit is not to yourself. So your first starts with you. You need to know this. And I'm talking about you. It may not be really pretty, some of the things that you may end up finding about yourselves, but that's okay. You may think that you're alone, but I want you to think about that again, especially now with this technology. Just think about that. Yes, there will be several subjects that we will be talking about. We will talk about our perception. We will talk about archetypes, inner characters. We will talk about the things that we cannot see, but we know that they are there. So there are so many things to talk about. So I have created my channel. Yes, I paint and I write and I do other things as well. I can tell you that it's not going to be boring. I will love it if you actually subscribe to my channel. And if you have questions, you can communicate with me. My first website is ready, that is focused on my artwork. And the second one is going to be more about this and my books. So my intention is to offer my knowledge, my experience, but just remember that these are my experiences. So you're always free to listen. You don't have to follow. But I do encourage you to start your homework now. Spend some time with yourself now. Ask yourself where your life is going. Ask yourself, does it feel like there's someone else inside of you is dying to get out? Do you have dreams that you find yourself in foreign places, places that you've never been before, but for some reason it feels right, as if you were there? Have you ever felt meeting someone for the first time, but actually somehow it felt like you knew that person? Think about that, because you will realize we are really not that different from each other anywhere in the world. When you think that you're suffering, your life is maybe awful, there are actually other people, probably they are suffering more. So what is suffering? Is it really necessary? Are there things that we can do? This cradle that we chose to fall asleep in this darkness, is it permanent? Is it temporary? Is it your responsibility to wake up? Do you need help? I want to thank you for your time, for listening. I hope that this introduction will spark something in you. I hope that you will actually make a commitment to meet your authentic self. You may even ask, what is that really? What is that being authentic? How do you know that you're fake? Because you do. You will know. I want you to look at yourself not just as a male, female. You will learn to shed all those labels, all those titles, because beyond being a female or male or mother or father or daughter, son, beyond all those labels, there is something else, and that being is intellectual, physical, spiritual, emotional. That being is an energetic being. That being has the ability to be connected to anything they want. So imagine the possibilities. Just think about that. So thank you so much for your time. I hope you will have a fantastic and magical day. Take care.